Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode number 2 of Pace Sports
We
Podcast.
did it. We're
Oh,
back.
yes, we are, alongside Jackson King, Sean O'Neill. I am Ronnie Romanelli, and we have a lot to talk about today, a little bit more than last time, and we're excited to get right into it. So I'll segue right to Sean, and let's get our topics going.
So, week one standouts. I think the games did not go how any of us expected. Nobody expected
What
Seattle
are
to
you
be
talking
beating the
about?
Bengals
The
by one.
Buccaneers 49ers game was the exact
Well,
representation of what everyone expected to
to
happen.
be
That
fair,
game
each
couldn't be a better
quarterback did throw
microcosm
three
for both
touchdown
teams.
passes, which was quite impressive.
Okay.
Now, three of them were to the other team, but we're not going to go there.
That game was terrible, and every
Yeah.
single part of me was sad.
Not talking about my Jets at all. We're going to ignore them.
And the
Very,
Giants, all our teams lost, so
Yep. Not a good
we
week
can't say anything.
at
I'm
Pace
not sure
Sports.
I'm a Giants fan anymore.
You want to be a Ravens
Wow.
fan? Because I want to redo my prediction for MVP to Lamar Jackson.
Okay, we need to wait. I feel like we're going to be saying whoever's playing the Dolphins that week, whoever is playing them is going to break out as an MVP candidate because they're
Speaking
going to
of
put up
which,
50 points.
New England has a 19-point spread on Miami this week.
Yeah. It started at 14, and it just jumped.
Oh my
It's
god.
generous, right?
It jumped
Like-
when the reports from AB came out, which, well, maybe get into. I'm not sure.
Whatever we feel like. We'll get to that when we get to the Patriots game.
Anyway.
Or whatever. Let's go back to week one as far as, like, everyone want to pick something that stood out to you.
Gardner Minshew.
I like him.
I
really like
liked him a lot.
him.
And I know they got they ended up there. It was like a shootout for a little bit, and they ended up just getting routed by Kansas City. But he looked good. He looked
did.
really
now,
good.
He's got an okay defense, and I like to see where he goes. They played the Chiefs, so I mean, we can't
Yeah,
say
Gardner
much
mustache
about like they're
himself
probably gonna lose that game anyways. But I want to see what they do this week.
against Houston.
I'm
I
not
think they
on
could
the
beat Houston.
Minshew bandwagon. I think
love
that he, of course, 22 for 25 passing, 275 yards, 2 touchdowns. Obviously, good stat line. He
I'm
did
not
throw a
on there.
pick. However, this is the Kansas City Chiefs secondary. We knew they struggled last year. We knew they were going to struggle this year. And this game was over when he came into the game.
It
He had
was.
and he came into a system where he just had to throw the ball. The Chiefs
he
were playing a
did
little bit more
really well.
conservative on defense.
Here's the
And you
reason
know what?
you think he can break out this season. I think Leonard Fournette is finally back, and I think Leonard Fournette looked really good in that game and the carries he did have. I really think this is going to be a breakout year for Leonard Fournette in comparison to last year where things didn't go his way. I like this year to be a breakout year for him, and I think that takes the pressure off of him at QB.
I think the Jags have a lot of opportunity in that division. I mean, it's probably the weakest division in the National Football League. But I'm not too sure of Gardner Minshew yet. I mean,
I like him, man.
it's 1 week against a bad
Great 10
defense.
name, though, right? I mean, he's got the name. Do you really need
Yeah.
skill?
Yeah, you do. To win football games, you do.
Well,
but
to be
at
fair,
the
there.
Texans-
Oh, wait, no, never mind. The entire division lost besides the Titans somehow.
I think we need to talk about this Dolphins-Ravens game. And is there anything you can take away other than the Dolphins suck? Can you even say that, like, this is a good game for Lamar Jackson?
I think our high school team could beat the Dolphins. We're going to
It's-
put it into perspective.
It's hard. It's rare that you see a team go into, like, a full rebuild in the NFL. It just doesn't happen a lot because the seasons are shorter and they have to sell tickets and the hype is, like, bigger. You can't. It's easier to do it in baseball. But, like, in football it doesn't happen. But this just looks like a full rebuild with the team.
It's
that
going to
they
be
have
a
out there right now.
historically bad team. It's going to be just like the Browns of a few years ago where they go
Yeah.
1-31 in 2
But
seasons.
even like you see the Browns and when the Lions were terrible, they were at least in games. It looked like it was competitive. That entire game, just they did not look like they belonged on the field. No one looked like they wanted to be there, like at
Well,
all. There was.
I don't
It
think
wasn't
anybody knew what
just
to
They
expect
were
either.
bad.
They had no, because Baltimore, the thing about Baltimore and Arizona, they had these huge revolutionary offenses that we were going to see week one, and the Dolphins had no clue what to prep for. They were just like, try to keep the guys in front of you and hope for the best. And that didn't work
It
because of
looked-
the speed of Baltimore, which is nuts.
It looked like they were playing with a FIFA team that had a chemistry of 0, because that's what it looked like. Like just nothing
Oddly
was in sync.
specific reference, but all right.
I'm not quick to jump on the bandwagon that Miami's going to go 0-16 or even just a couple wins. We have to look back to last year. You had the Buffalo Bills that were projected to be one of the worst teams in the history of NFL, but people had them 0-16. The first week they played at Baltimore, and they lost 47-3. Everyone, including me, was ready to write them off. No chance. They're going to lose almost every game. And then they lost week 2, and then in week 3, they traveled to Minnesota to play the Vikings, and they won by 20-plus points. So these are NFL coaches and players, and although you've got the we want to leave the team. There's reports that players want to leave the Dolphins and such. These are guys that are fighting for jobs, whether it be next year or the years coming. Coaches, players, etc. They're not going to just lay down and die, and I'm not ready to just write them off as a complete failure. But that first game, I mean, it didn't have to be as bad as that. I think the Ravens kind of played like Alabama University football.
Just keep going up.
Like they fake punted up by quite a bit. I believe.
Lamar Jackson out of the game though in like the third quarter, right?
Yeah, but they did a fake punt. I think on their own 30 or 40 on 4th and 1, they fake punted and got the first down and drove it all the way down the field.
Sometimes
so I mean, there was a little.
They can work.
Yeah, I mean there was some salt in the wound here, but don't give up on the Dolphins yet. I'm almost ready to give up, but let's see. Next week obviously is not a chance for them to win against New England, then they go to Dallas.
Week 4.
They play Los Angeles Chargers.
Week 5.
So yeah, then when they're home against the Redskins in Week 5, then they go to Buffalo. If they can win Week 5 against Washington, they might be able to get some momentum, and I see them winning the division at 12-4.
A segue into this week, which I'm gonna skip the Bucs and Panthers game, but the early game on at 1:00. Cardinals versus Ravens should be a fun quarterback game to watch with Kyler Murray and Lamar Jackson. I think that'll be a fun game.
Any fantasy owners out there? I'm putting them on my starting everybody you got. Starting the coach, starting everybody. The water boy. They're all getting in.
How about the Browns? What happened to Cleveland?
That was a penalty-filled game, and
18 penalties.
Every time the momentum started for the Browns, it was just taken away by a penalty. They were fighting themselves, and it wasn't they fighting themselves in turnovers, though they did have those. They were also penalties are incredibly frustrating because it just you see something good happen and it comes back. At least in turnovers, everything's bad from the start.
Yeah, they were full of those too.
You could build off. But
Cleveland
the good thing about penalties is that's easier to fix than turnovers.
Yeah, 18 flags for 182 yards for Cleveland versus 6 for 54 for Tennessee.
And did
Cleveland
Baker
had
have,
3 turnovers.
If I'm correct, 3 interceptions and
yes, 3
safety?
interceptions. Yes.
I mean, some of those are late when you're trying to come back, so you start to excuse those. But
Baker did not look sharp at all.
No, he didn't. And
because they lost what they needed. Everybody was so high on this offense, and I was telling them from day one, I'm like, they lost their offensive line, they lost some of their defense. And that's what they needed.
To the Titans, though. That was a good game for them. They looked solid all the way around.
Honestly,
they played a good game of football.
Fluke game.
It was a fluke, though. Yeah, I'm not big on the Titans this year. In preseason they looked horrible. Their starting players, and I'm just not ready. I think the Browns just had a very discombobulated game. I think they snapped out of it.
They played the Colts at home this week, though. The Titans.
Yeah, big game.
And if they win that, then they're 2-0 and they're on the upswing.
I mean, they're in control of the division right now. And if they win this, they have an early grasp on it.
Yes.
We want to start going into week 2 games here.
All right, week 2.
Giving our predictions, start with Buccaneers and Panthers. Thursday
Prime
night.
time, baby.
I will be shielding my eyes and my ears and any of my senses that can alert me to how badly the Bucs are losing this game.
Here's the thing. I want to count the Bucs out here, but
their defense looked good. I'll give them that. Both
tells me
in that game looked good.
Something tells me that we're gonna see Jameis put up 350 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions.
Okay, here's the thing.
Because that's who Jameis Winston is.
3 interceptions. Only the last one was really bad. The last one was a screen pass set up, and he threw a pick 6 when the running back was about 10 yards away from it. And he just threw it into a linebacker's arms, who was so confused. For a second, it looked like they were was there a penalty? Why do I have the football? Why did he just, toss the football to me? It was terrible in every sense of the word. And But the other two interceptions, one was the wide receiver slipped, and the other one went through a wide receiver's arms. So, I mean, it wasn't as bad as it looked, but their defense did look good. So, I mean,
It was definitely a sloppy game. But I think he snaps out of it. I think the Bucks snap out of it. They're not. This was just a rough home opener and a game in Carolina Thursday night prime time. It's a big one for them.
They'll have a short
and if
week,
they get
though.
squashed again, yeah. So this is a short week. If they get squashed again, they're in trouble.
If they get
I
squashed
still
here,
think
I don't
Panthers
blame
win this
them.
game.
Honestly, short week at Carolina. Everything's going Carolina's way right now. Come off a huge win last week. But, oh, wait, no, they lost. My bad.
Yeah, they lost.
It was they were, wait.
That was a good game.
It was
that
a very good
that
game.
Was,
I thought they
I
won.
said that was going to be a game, and it was, so I would like to take credit for my correct prediction.
Whatever.
And
I
cash
thought they
that
won.
out.
My apologies.
The score is closer than what it was. The Rams really had control of the game the entire time.
Yeah, they just started to come back for the Panthers, so
Panthers look good.
again, Christian McCaffrey looked so good.
Cam did not look good. Cam looked horrible.
No, Cam did not look good. Like, that was Christian McCaffrey's game all the way. Like,
Yeah, and
he single-handedly carried them on their back and just like, let's go.
as a Christian McCaffrey owner, I'm very proud of my boy putting up 44 points for me in my league.
He's spread out as a wide
I don't remember anybody asking.
receiver, and he looks
all
like
right?
the best player at wide receiver. It's insane.
I
So
don't
anyways,
remember
my
asking
pick
about
here
Christian
is
McCaffrey.
the Panthers. I mean, you can't pick against the Panthers here. It is a trap game, and I don't think the Buccaneers don't have any chance, but the Panthers win this one, in my opinion.
Yep, I have them winning at home, 1-1 to start the season.
Yeah, I can't not pick the Panthers, but I think we're sleeping on the Bucks a little bit. I think it'll be a lot closer than people think.
I think they need some time to adjust to Bruce Arians' offense. We'll see where it goes, and hopefully he can turn around Winston, and if he can't, they can tank for Tua. So
I think they need to.
Anyways, Cardinals, Ravens, 1 o'clock.
Hey, that's my
What do we got?
job. That
I
is
got
my
this
job.
now.
No. Cardinals at
Ravens.
Ravens. Jackson. Cardinals at
Yeah,
Ravens.
You gotta have some turnover, man.
No, it's my job.
And a new job. Cardinals, Ravens. I
Stop.
think that this is the Ravens game.
Cardinals at
I'll
Ravens.
just
Go.
keep saying it.
Ronnie, Cardinals
got
at
the
Ravens. What do you got?
Cardinals at Ravens. I've got the Ravens.
Yeah, I think the Ravens. Until Kyler Murray puts up good showing for 4 quarters, and the Cardinals put up a good showing for 4 quarters, I will go with the Ravens here. I think they're a more complete team. I think their defense, the Ravens' defense, is good, and I think their offense is at least okay. But I need to see them play an actual defense, and that'd be nice to see against the Cardinals here.
This is what actually happened in the Arizona game. I don't think any of that was on Arizona. That comeback, 18-point comeback is impressive, and I'm not going to take that away from anybody. But the Lions stopped blitzing. They just kind of sat back and let Kyler Murray throw. They just collapsed in the fourth quarter. I don't really know what happened. And they're going to be facing a much better defense this week in Baltimore.
Can we talk about that pass at the end of the game that the Cardinals dropped on the interception that they could have won the game?
Oh, yeah.
Why were they passing there to start with?
Because I think they were going to win the game, too.
Yeah, but they were throwing to the sideline for like 8 yards. It wouldn't even put them into Hail Mary range. It was literally
Well,
the
Matt
stupid
Stafford
decision.
it was.
He could have won the game. All he had to do was catch the ball and fall down, and they're in field goal range to win the game. Not that I trust their kicker after what happened, but I got the Ravens in this game on my limited knowledge.
Saying Gonzalez was, you mean, trust the kicker.
Speaking of kickers, I want the Jets
Saying
to sign
Gonzalez
Carly
4 for
Lloyd.
4.
I need the
Who
Jets
missed
to
a
sign
field
Carly
goal
Lloyd.
Okay.
I'm
We'll get
over
to
it,
that.
man. We're the new Bears.
Saying Gonzalez.
I'm that annoys me. That whole saga annoys me. Anyways,
Why?
Cowboys,
She had a
Redskins.
boot.
Ha. It's
No,
me.
no. Don't answer.
Dude,
Cowboys at Redskins. I can
give
do
me
this
them
all day.
Cowboys again.
Yeah, Ugh. Don't get me started.
I like
on
Case Keenum, but I can't see them winning. I like the Cowboys on the road.
The Cowboys looked like a powerhouse against the Giants.
Well, everybody does.
Yeah, you have a point. But they looked like good. Dak playing for that money.
Redskins were good against the Eagles for a while. I thought they had a good week 1, and they could definitely win this
Darius
game.
Dice is down again, and we got Case Keenum. Whoa!
I think the Cowboys
Come on.
game. We can move to the
It's Case
next game.
Keenum.
There
Don't.
isn't much. Much discussion about this one. Colts at Titans. I'm just gonna say it
Say
first.
it
So
now.
truly, I'm in control here.
Colts at Titans. I'll do this the entire podcast.
I don't know.
I'm
We
gonna
can
go
see the viewers
if
leaving.
it's an upset. I don't know but I'm taking Titans here. That was a good week 1 showing. I know it was against the Browns. I still think they played well. I liked what their defense did. I like that Derrick Henry can at random points just travel down the field for long touchdowns because that seems the only thing he can do. When he put up that crazy performance last year where he had like 300 yards or something at one point.
Oh yeah, the last 4 weeks where he just put up insane numbers. From 14 to 17, something like that, he was just putting up.
Physically, he's built.
numbers.
He's like the scariest running back to look at.
Well, what is his hair? First off.
Okay, that like ponytail thing. That's
I don't know.
Disturbing. It's
Yeah,
disturbing.
I don't like it. Anyway, I
don't
disagree
like
with you.
Looking at the schedule and seeing these 0-0-1 ties for Arizona and
It just
Detroit,
annoys
that's
me.
annoying. It took 1 week and now we're all messed up in the standings and I have to look at this ugliness.
I mean, to be fair, I don't think they're two teams that are really going to matter in their division standings come the end of the year, but
You don't want to. You want to be able to say, oh, they're 7-3, they're 4-8, they're 0-0, and they're like 1-2-5. They're 1-2-1.
1, 2, and
whatever.
5. Oh my god.
Anyways, I got Titans this game.
I don't.
Pivot.
Give me the Colts. I like the Colts.
Give me the Colts, baby.
Yeah, I was guessing that, but I will take the Titans.
Marlon Mack has a big day, I see. I think
Here-
Marlon Mack is one of the best running backs in the league, very underrated player. I think the Colts are dedicated to the run game, and Jacoby Brissett had some nice chemistry with T.Y. Hilton, something I did not see before the season once Luck was retired.
I'll take
so,
my bow
you know
now.
what? Yeah, you still couldn't beat me, but that's all right. Colts win 27-17.
Because,
Here's
like
my
an
final
idiot, I
score.
benched Austin Eckler, which we'll
I
get to
will
in a
go
bit.
with the reverse of that score for mine. I'll go 27-17. Titans win.
I'm taking the
No
Colts here
creativity.
Seahawks.
because here. No, I didn't even get to do my analysis.
We gotta
Well,
move
this is
this
why
along.
No. I
We've
want.
gotten through like 4 games, man. Not even that.
I'm taking the Colts because versus last week, the Titans did not play defense, whereas this year they were playing one of the best defenses in the league with the Colts. Seahawks at Steelers. See,
I'm not big on Seattle. After that, I picked them in my survivor pool league. They looked very bad against Cincinnati.
Big
Their
on the
offense
Steelers,
just looked.
That
Listen,
was
that-
pathetic.
How do you go to Foxborough and beat the Patriots?
You
Week
don't,
1.
You don't get destroyed like they do.
See-
That's a bad sign, regardless of how good the team is.
If I can step on a soapbox for a second here, especially when it comes to teams like the Steelers, and I'm going to say the Browns as well as a few other teams in the league, you need to play at least 1 week in the preseason. Because granted, a
Short
lot of this,
preseason,
the
right?
Steelers, there's a lot of changes, especially on the Browns roster. And the Steelers roster, they lost AB. That's huge, especially for Big Ben and where he's going to throw the ball. You need to play at least 1 game in the preseason to just get that chemistry down and figure out what you want to do before the season
Or
starts.
this is what you do. You dedicate. You can make the preseason 4 games if you want, but you like go out and you dedicate. Okay, these 2 games are like practice squad games almost. Like these are guys.
That's
that
pretty much
aren't
what
gonna
it
be
is
playing
anyway. It's
games.
just figuring out
And
your
then-
55-man
and
roster.
then you say we're having 1 game that's like a real game, and we're gonna play everyone the whole time.
I
and
mean,
this is just one of them.
Here's
I
the
wouldn't even say
problem.
the whole
They
game.
tried to do that in week 3, but just
The problem is Ben Roethlisberger played in the preseason.
Did he really?
Yes, he played
Oh,
against the Titans, and he actually looked pretty well. I mean, he did a pretty good job. The offense, James Conner looked like he had a nice game, and Steelers totally demolished the starting lineup of the Tennessee Titans, Marcus Mariota, and the backup Ryan Tannehill. So going into the season, I was really high on Pittsburgh, and then now they get thrashed by New England. It's a little scary, but we got to remember the splits between Ben Roethlisberger at home and Ben Roethlisberger on
He
the
got
road.
rid of that last season. I was hoping he'd keep it up, but
Yeah, well, I mean, he's getting older. 27 for 47 passing. He had an 18.2 QBR, one of the worst games of his career probably. And the Steelers lose by 30.
Right.
I think they turn it around, though, at home against Seattle. I see them winning in a nice fashion.
well, in my argument, then sub out the Steelers for the Rams because the Rams look terrible because I know Jared Goff didn't play in the preseason.
okay.
And versus the
I
Chiefs,
think-
who played Pat Mahomes in the preseason, and they looked amazing. Anyway, go ahead, Jackson.
Seattle, I think, wins this game. I am not going to pick the Steelers until they win, until they figure out whatever they are. They've had enough off the field issues, and we'll see
Hottest
if
take of the
they
week.
can get their offense going. Because that was most concerning to me, was
Alright.
their lack of offense in that game.
The hottest take this week. Another tie.
Oh, no.
Steelers Seahawks. You heard it here first. They're tying.
If you predict that right, I'm gonna give. You can have a 10-minute soapbox on this podcast. You're just gonna talk for 10 minutes. And no one
I can
interrupts
do
you.
that when I want. Anyway, I could tell you guys we're done with the podcast and then just keep recording afterwards. I can give a soapbox when I want.
Okay. Well,
All right, next game.
Bills and Giants.
I'm not gonna.
This is going to be the best game of the week.
Or the biggest barn burner. One of those two.
I like the Giants in this one. They're going to get the W. Give me my G-men at home. Yeah, you might think, oh, but, Josh Allen's going to have a field day out there. He probably will. But you know what? I'm going to go with the Giants. They didn't look that bad on offense.
Pound the ball to Saquon Barkley and play off the play action.
Sterling
I don't
Shepard
think
is
you
out
can
with
rely
concussion.
on Eli Manning to come back, and that's when they fell into a problem.
All we
When they
need is
started
Evan
having
Ingram.
they felt like they needed to throw the ball, and that's when you run into problems. You want to dictate when you throw the ball. The Giants can play when they are able to dictate when they throw the ball. When they're playing from behind, they have problems.
How about taking out Saquon on the last touchdown drive for New York, and Wayne Gallman gets the touchdown instead of Saquon, and a lot of fantasy owners with Saquon were probably not too happy. Maybe
you
Sean?
gotta
No,
really be strategic.
I don't think
about
they were
when you
happy
give your
either,
running
but
back the
luckily-
rest.
No, I don't know. I have Saquon. It very, very upsetting. Very disappointing week from Saquon. Well, no, I wouldn't say disappointing.
He still puts up 120 yards rushing.
Yeah, comparatively to Christian McCaffrey, mostly. Very disappointing week. But this one, as much as I don't want the Bills to win, give me the Bills in a 3-point win.
If I was gonna pick a tie, I'd be this game.
Here's the thing.
As in, tie a blindfold around my head because I don't want to watch this.
Wow. But Bills have a shockingly good defense. Sneaky good, probably. I don't think that many people think the Bills are going to be good this year. Their offense is clicking. There's good chemistry.
Josh Allen's going to throw on someone. He's going to throw on
Saquon's going to put up
non-existent
220 yards and 3 touchdowns, but the Bills are going to win. Because I think Evan Ingram's going to start drawing double coverage, especially this week because Sterling Shepard's out with a concussion. I don't think he gets much done. As much, Ronnie, love you and your Giants, but I gotta take the Bills. I gotta take the Bills in this one.
David Tyree and the Giants take it at home.
Okay,
Is he still on
49ers
that
at
team?
Bengals.
49ers and Bengals. I like the 49ers because I do not think Cincinnati is as good as many people think after their Week 1 match with the Seahawks. I think Seattle is just that bad, and I've been big on Seattle being under 8 wins all year. I think they go under 500 for the first time in a while, I think. So I like San Francisco because I think that their defense played really well.
Yeah, as much as people make fun of James Winston and his terrible performance, that 49ers defense looked good, especially their second. They were getting pass rush, and their secondary was locking everything up and really good man coverage. So I think they're able to contain any sort of offense from the Bengals. Maybe the Bengals can get, but the Bengals don't have a good rushing attack. So
Giovanni Bernard. Do not sleep on Giovanni Bernard. Joe Mixon's going to be out this week with an ankle sprain. A terrible-looking ankle sprain at that. I think he's going to be out for a number of weeks. But Giovanni Bernard, he's
still not.
If you were playing the waiver wire in
still
fantasy,
below average
pick up
running
Giovanni. No.
If you're telling me that if you could pick 15 teams that you wouldn't pick 15 other teams that can have a better rushing attack than them?
No, I put Giovanni Bernard in at least the top 12.
Okay. I disagree.
Watch.
I think.
Call it right now.
49ers win this game.
Giovanni Bernard will have a top 12 performance this week in fantasy football and in regular football. Like, you know how on NFL Network at the bottom they put top 10 running backs? Giovanni Bernard's going to be on there.
I disagree.
And I think the 49ers win this game.
Anyway.
I think the 49ers suffocate the. I don't think this game is fun to watch, but I think the 49ers
this
win
game should be on
sort of
TV
low-scoring
anywhere, even in Cincinnati and San Fran.
It's apparently on Fox. Probably in
Fox
the remote
where?
regions of within
Anchorage?
5.
It's on Fox
Yeah.
Anchorage? Like, nobody wants to watch it.
You're
But,
within a mile of the stadium. Maybe
the
you can watch
one
it.
thing that really stands out to me about this 49ers defense, last year, 2 whole interceptions. They broke that total in game 1.
Well, I mean, okay.
Now,
That's Jameis Winston's specialty.
that's what I'm saying. I think that defense was very fluky because it's Jameis Winston's specialty to throw touchdowns to the other team.
Their man coverage is very good. The Bucks have a very good wide receiver core.
Give me a
and they were
cornerback that
locked
can
up.
keep up with John Ross. The fastest man in the league. Who put up monster numbers last week.
His own hands. I mean, he got lucky. He caught
7.
passes.
Yeah, he got lucky
His hands
catching
are
7
literally-
passes.
158 yards.
2 touchdowns.
Yeah, that's 'cause
Lucky.
He's the big play possibility. He'll always have
No.
the big play possibility. But one of those touchdowns, there were 2 cornerbacks there to make a play, and it
Yeah,
just
that
slipped
was a
right
bad
over
one.
their hands. And
There's going to
That's
be
why I'm not big
regression.
on
I'm
Seattle.
not saying that, but
yeah,
give me John
I'm taking
Ross for 100
49ers
yards and
here.
a touchdown, and give me the Bengals.
give me the 49ers, and
Give me the 49ers.
Kittle keeps establishing himself as the best tight end in the league. Okay,
Kid who?
Travis
Chargers at Lions.
I love Phillip Rivers. I think he's the greatest quarterback this league has ever seen.
Wait,
Other than a
pause.
couple other guys.
Watch him throw
That
the football,
debate
though. His
is gonna be
arm
saved for a
angle is
different
just
day.
So weird.
But please tell me that was a joke.
Maybe that Brady guy, but you know what? Rivers is right
No,
up there.
Brady's
He's a
not the
nice
best quarterback.
Christian man.
You've ever
He
seen.
is on my Christian channel all the time. And
Tebow?
I like Phillip Rivers more than a lot of other people. And I think that this offense is going to be one of the best offenses in the league, and that the defense is going to be around average. And that's all you need in the NFL. I think this Chargers team, I said it before, they're going to win the division this year.
Now, I think this could be a sneaky good game.
Give me a high-scoring game, but I still think the Chargers are going to win. But I think it's going to be kind of high-scoring. Neither defense is incredible. The Chargers probably have a better defense, but both offenses can put up a lot of points, and Matthew Stafford can throw over any defense when he wants. So,
See, here's the thing. Give me the Chargers. I'm going to put that out right away. However, you saw what the Lions front did to Kyler Murray in 3 quarters. They shut him off. He did nothing. And
That's a rookie.
yeah, but here's the thing. We got a banged up O-line here in L.A. They're in Detroit. And I don't think that matters much, but you got a banged up O-line. No offense to Austin Eckler, because he's one of my favorite players in the league, but he's not Melvin Gordon.
Oh, I think he is. I think he's better.
He's been on my fantasy roster the past 3 years. I love him. I play him. Besides this week, I messed up and left him on my bench because I thought
He is
Kerryon
more
Johnson was
talented.
going to be a good game. Was going to have a good game. I was dead wrong. But I think the Lions have a little bit of bounce back week. I wouldn't say bounce back week because they tied, but bounce back from that fourth quarter. They've got a sneaky good game here, but I'll still take the Chargers by a narrow victory.
do we all got the Chargers here?
I have the Chargers by 2 scores.
Okay, let's
Like 2
speed it
points,
up a little here because we're through half the game, so we've spent a lot of time on these.
We got
40
time.
minutes.
I don't know why you're worried about time, man.
Other
I have the
things.
clock.
I don't
have
got
things
time.
to do tonight. Vikings at Packers.
This is going to be a tie.
In true
Everyone
Packers
gets
fashion,
one
I
tie
think it
pick.
might be.
Just like last year.
So Sean's tie pick is Seahawks and Steelers. My tie pick is 49ers and Bengals. And your tie pick is Vikings and Packers.
Indeed. Well, actually, I have the Packers winning by 10 points here at home.
I think the Packers are the better. They're at home here. I'll take the Packers at Lambeau.
And I want an apology. I want an apology from both of you because
I
was the only one out there saying that Chicago's offense wasn't ready, and I told you that the Packers were going to beat them in Chicago, and was I right? Of course I was. 10-3, baby. So
No, you said 27-20. I have it written down.
okay, but that's still, I still predicted the right team. You said let's not give scores because they're never right.
We
but
said we're getting a score.
one good pass, deep pass by Aaron Rodgers, and that was the entire offense in that game. I'm not taking anything from that game. All I am taking from that game is that the Packers defense apparently is okay.
much better than we
Trubisky sucks.
The big thing I said, hold on, I got a big point I got to make here. The Packers, I told you, the Packers defense improved.
And I will say you were right. I will say
Thank
you
you.
were
And I
right.
said, watch out for Zadarius Smith. He had 3 tackles, a sack, and a tackle for a loss. So thank you very much, Zadarius Smith. And that'll be it for me on the podcast. Bye, everybody.
Okay. Did he actually leave?
Wait, what?
Ronnie?
I would never leave you.
I thought you
Okay.
actually, like I heard a click and I was like, is he gone?
I'll take
Okay.
Packers here.
Yeah, I like the Packers.
Yeah. Not much to say here. Just give me the Packers because they're at home. I think there's 2 good teams, 2 good offenses and defenses. But I will say Thursday night was mostly just one drive of Aaron Rodgers doing Aaron Rodgers things.
Well, it's
Okay.
also because of thanks to the Bears defense, but
Yeah.
I agree.
I don't know if we can base either of those off of that.
Jaguars versus Texans.
At Texans. Got to be specific where they are.
Yeah, but if I'm gonna put the second team as the home team.
What are we, animals? Texans, I like them in this one. I'm not big on Gardner Minshew until I see enough.
Until this week when he routs the Texans by 20.
And if he does, I'll give him the credit. I know he has talent, but he's a rookie.
And he's
and
got a
he
great
doesn't have any
mustache.
He's
pressure.
got the arm.
Yeah, no
I just
pressure
wanna see if
going
he can
into
make
that
the right
game.
decisions.
Anybody with a
Yeah.
mustache like that's
So
going
give
to
me
win.
the Texans here at home. Sean Watson. He looks good.
He looked very smart. That was the big thing about him against New Orleans. Deshaun Watson back last season had the most sacks. I think Texans were sacked the most. Now Deshaun Watson had, of course he got sacked a couple times. That offensive line is not where it needs to be, but he avoided a lot of sacks and avoided a lot of turnovers and mistakes by getting out of the pocket, looking downfield instead of just running automatically. He made a lot of great passes out of the pocket, and I think he's getting smarter.
Game of the week right there. Their final drives were masterful on both sides of the Texans and the Saints.
Defensive meltdowns.
Those last 3 minutes or so, just the most beautiful football I think I've ever
I
seen.
don't know if it was coaching or it was just defensive people missing their
And
assignments.
just
but
pure
that was
offensive skill. 2 great
pathetic
quarterbacks and some
defense.
great receivers.
They are, and they were good at taking advantage of mistakes that the defense made, and there were a lot of them there.
2
That
plays,
was-
75 yards
think
in
it-
14 seconds.
Yeah, someone
Or
messed
40
up.
seconds.
When someone goes 75 yards in 2 plays, someone made a mistake on the defense. Like, you can't just say, I'm going to average 35 yards per play here, and no one made a mistake.
That's fair, but still beautiful. There's just
It's beautiful if you like offense.
if anybody wants to
you're watching
rewatch
football,
the last
this game
5
will
minutes of a
go to
game,
defense.
pick that one. It's amazing.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
You
924
don't wanna watch the
total
last
yards.
5 minutes of
Are
that
you
Cardinals
kidding?
game against the Lions?
Yep, I'm not kidding. No, 924 total yards.
Wow.
Lots of offense in this one. Good. It was a great game. Definitely one of the best Monday Night Football games I've seen in recent history.
Best
The last 1 o'clock game, how much do the Patriots beat the Dolphins by?
-3. Give me the Dolphins at home.
Yeah, you know what? Kenyon Drake runs for he gets 3 carries for 300 yards. Dolphins win 21-0. No, I like my New England 45-3.
Give me the Dolphins at home. I know nobody else is saying this. That has been Brady's Achilles heel for 10 years now. Give me the
42
Dolphins
10.
at home.
42-10.
Taking them on the spread makes more sense.
38-10.
No,
That's what I'm going with.
outright. Give me the Dolphins at home.
Okay, we'll kick you.
No, I just
Silly.
want to put that
We'll
on the
find out a
record.
way to post this
I
podcast
am
ourselves.
picking the Dolphins.
Okay.
So nobody
Well, I
can
do
tell
not
me I was
respect
wrong.
you.
You heard
I
it.
lost all respect. Not that it was there to begin with, but
And you hear stories like all the people that predict crazy things and everybody makes
Yeah.
fun of them and then they're right. I'm going to make fun of you in this, and I know I'm going to be right,
Go for
and
it.
that's it.
Give me the
I
Dolphins.
think you're an idiot.
24-21. Give me the Dolphins.
Good for you.
Another one here. How much do the Chiefs beat the Raiders by?
Give me the.
Hey, wait a second. Don't you sleep on those Oakland Raiders.
Sorry, who?
Great week 1.
Who?
Great week 1.
Well, yeah.
Derek Carr looked very nice. The defense looked very nice.
And
These
And
are good. 1, 2.
the sleeper of the year, Darren Waller, had 7 catches for 70 yards.
also
This
looked
team
nice.
is better than what it looked like before the season, and I'm
Yes.
happy for them
Yeah.
because of the Antonio Brown saga that really I thought was going to destroy them financially and chemistry-wise. you build up all of this for nothing, and your coaching staff's all over the place. Your players are probably thinking some things. They you know what? They stuck together. They got a nice win at home, a division win. Are they going to win the division? No. Are they going to make the playoffs? No. Are they going to win this game? No. And I think the Oakland Raiders go 1-15.
Watching anyone play in the Coliseum is the most depressing thing of all time. That stadium is the most garbage stadium in all of sports.
We're going to ignore the fact that he built up Oakland like it was the first landing on the moon.
That's his trademark.
It was beautiful.
He did that last week. At some point.
I did it this episode. I just did it this episode.
It's like Captain America-esque. But then he just changes it at the last second. It's just, no, we're gonna lose.
Build his ego. Okay, anyways.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that stadium is bad, and I
all
want
right. Don't talk about the stadium. They are relocating.
I want them to
a little bit of
relocate.
dirt.
I want them to relocate so they get a better stadium, and then the A's need to get a new stadium.
They are moving next year.
They are. Yeah, I know. They're not. Yeah, the Raiders are, and the A's are already in process of getting a new stadium.
Oakland's just get it losing all their teams. I kind of feel bad.
I don't like the city of Oakland.
Warriors just left. The Raiders are leaving. The A's are probably going to get up and walk away.
There's like a million teams in California.
Yeah, but Oakland.
Yeah,
nobody likes Oakland.
It just has a historic name to it. Ring, name, the name. You know what I meant.
Do we all have Chiefs winning here, though?
Oh, yeah. I'm not betting against the Chiefs.
Yep, Chiefs win 31-20.
Okay, mister, I'm not betting against the Chiefs, but I'm going to pick the Dolphins to beat the Patriots.
At home, in Miami. The Patriots are going to go 15-1, and this is their loss.
Yo, come on. Come on.
No way.
That's literally, like, maybe one of the biggest, like, this team is definitely going to win.
What's today? Is today Wednesday?
In a long time.
Today is Wednesday, September 11th.
So you add 6 hours, we're at 1 a.m., 18 hours, we're at 1 p.m. on Thursday. 3 more days, 72 hours. Give me 90 hours.
And once at 4 o'clock when that game is, it's probably going to end before that because the clock is going to be chewed by Rex Burkhead. Rex Burkhead's just going to chew that clock all the way down when they're up 45-3. Then I'm going to call you personally, and we'll record the conversation.
We'll start a podcast at 4 o'clock. Just 5 minutes. So I can rub it in your face.
All right, next game, Chicago at Denver.
Wait, we skipped the Saints and Rams.
Well, my list shows Chicago at Denver.
Okay, well, my bad. We'll go Chicago and Denver then.
This is a slugfest of the defenses if I've ever seen one.
6-3 final score.
13-7 final score. Bears win.
Bears win this game, and I think they put up more than 21 points. I think Trubisky figures it out. Not like crazy, but I think their defense puts up 7 points by themselves, and Trubisky gets 7 points from really good field position by their defense, and then the other one, he finally puts together a nice drive.
Give me the Bears 6-3.
Give me 24-7 for the Bears.
I hope Saints-Rams is going to be at Fox here because I'm not watching.
Saints-Rams.
Great game.
This game of the week, I'm assuming.
Saints have just had beautiful games this last week and this week.
Rematch. This is a rematch, don't forget, of the NFC Championship game.
It's got some blood.
Both teams can put up a lot of offense. I think the Rams win this, because they're at home, even though their home field advantage is stupid and doesn't really matter. But the Saints don't get their home field advantage. Also, I think the Rams' defense is better, and I think that's what's going to let them win and keep the edge here, even though I think the Saints' offense is a little better. I just think the defense for the Rams is the gap between both teams' defense is higher for the Rams than the offense.
You know what? I wrote down Rams 34-31, but I'm thinking about it.
No.
And I'm not. No, I'm changing. I'm going right to the Saints, and I'm going to actually. I'm thinking about the offense for LA. Jared Goff looked very bad. Todd Gurley's not getting the carries he needs to be very good.
And he's not getting the red zone either.
And yeah, he's not getting the red zone touches.
Malcolm Brown.
And does that really matter? No. I mean, anybody can just shove it for 1 yard. But, it's going to mess with his head. Like, why am I not getting these touches? I like the Saints on the road. Vengeance. Let's go. Revenge for the Saints. I like it.
Give me the Saints, man. No pitch count for Todd Gurley was BS. You would have given him the ball in the red zone at least once to get that confidence back, if not anything else. Just get him in the end zone because he has been the most scoring player in the past 2 or 3 years. So, obviously, there's something up there. more going to. I think they're just heading towards a running back by committee at least this year until Gurley, they give him his confidence back by letting him get in the end zone. Yeah.
This should be the 8:20 game. I don't
Give
know
me-
why we
no,
have Eagles
I
Falcons.
like Eagles Falcons. But
I
give me the
think the
Saints.
Eagles are fun to watch. I don't think the Falcons are that great of a team this year.
Can I
And
finish my analysis on the Saints before we move on to the next game?
I guess.
Revenge game, like Ronnie said. Bad blood. Drew Brees going to put up monster numbers. Rams offense. This goes back to preseason. Never played together. The chemistry's not working. Once they figure that out, I'll start betting on the Rams. But I think they start the season 0-3 and got to recover.
I
they
got
won last
Rams
week.
win this game.
Did they win?
Yeah, they won the game.
I thought they
won.
Wait.
Rams won last week.
They
Both
were
teams
playing the
won
Panthers,
last week.
weren't they?
Yes, the Rams played
I
the
thought
Panthers.
that game went the other way. That's why I'm
That's
so
why,
thrown
yeah.
off. I thought
Alright.
that game went the other way. 1-3,
Falcons at Eagles.
and then they recover. No, Eagles at Falcons. They're in the dome.
The Eagles at Falcons, yeah.
It's going to be
I
a
think
fun
the
game for
Falcons
fantasy owners.
Are not a good team. I said that last week.
Nope,
And
don't buy it.
they didn't look good in week 1. So, give me the Eagles here. And the Eagles did look good. And Deshaun Jackson has a QB that can throw them deep, and that's dangerous. And at the very least, even if he doesn't put up any numbers, it stretches the back end, and it helps the running game. It helps the short throw game, even the medium throw game. So, give me the Eagles in this one. And
Yeah, I like the
defense is still
Eagles.
So-
Everything I like. I think it's a high-scoring game. I like fantasy players like Deshaun Jackson, Julio Jones, the both quarterbacks. I think it's just going to be a nice offensive, not shootout, but I think both teams will enjoy some offensive fruits. So give me the Eagles 35-20.
Give me the Eagles, I guess. I honestly couldn't tell you. I think it's just going to be a beautiful game offensively. I just don't think. I just like the Eagles this year in general. I think the Eagles pull this one out. That's it for me.
All righty.
All right, so that's all the real games. There's one that's being played on a practice field on Monday.
I will come over to
There's
your
a couple
room.
people that are like
drop you
watching
for
it maybe live, but probably just.
I sure won't.
members.
Browns
Give
and
me
Jets.
the. Everything looked bad about the Jets in that game. I mean, other than the very beginning, their defense looked good-ish and set them up well, and then everything fell apart, and Sam Darnold didn't look good at the end. Give me the Browns in this one. I hope they figure out their penalties, because if they do that, they'll be better. I think they'll figure out to win this game. They need to win this game.
My soul hurts. You can go, Ronnie.
Yeah, I'm
thinking
going
about
to
this
get
game, I
the
heard.
Browns. I think Nick Chubb has a big day. I like the Browns in this one to rebound a little bit. The Jets, I think they have a lot of potential. But as
Thank
you're
you.
probably used to hearing, Sean, next year.
It's what I've been hearing since the day I was born. Next year, next year, next year. As the depressed Jets fan that I deserve to be, how do we blow that game to the Browns, first of all?
That was
Brown Bills.
You mean not to the Browns?
Because I'm looking forward. I'm looking at this week and thinking back to last
You
year,
know what's gonna happen.
and I'm thinking back to last year because that's what this reminds me of, and it's gonna happen again. Baker looked atrocious, asinine, whatever A word you want to use.
He was fine. At certain points, he was okay, and I think he could have built a better rhythm if the penalties weren't there. I want to see them again with not as many penalties and see how they do.
Anyway.
I think they can play better.
If anybody recalls to last year, when Baker showed up against the Jets, and Taylor went out with a concussion and put that man out of a job.
Okay, that wasn't even that great of a game from Baker.
I don't care. It's
he
going to happen
played
again.
Okay, coming in there.
The Jets are going to lose. I don't know what to say
Jets
as a
are
Jets
predictable.
fan.
I
I'm
gotta go with the Browns.
emotionally
The Browns
invested.
are the better team.
I'm going to wear my Eric Decker jersey that I got at Burlington Coat Factory for $12 on Monday. I'm going to be Jets through and through. But in a professional setting, I'm going to give the Browns just so I'm not wrong.
You call this professional?
Oh,
It's public. I'll give it that.
Yeah.
God,
all righty.
that's
So
all-
that's
that's
week
gonna
That's all
two.
the games. Yes, we can talk about something other than football?
Well, I thought we were gonna go. You want to just?
We can move back to football. Let's do something other than football, so we can
So
actually show
people get a
we
break.
can do something else.
Yeah, let's go to our ads, our sponsors.
Skype.
We don't have
That's
any.
our-
We don't have any sponsors.
Um,
We use Skype. Shout out to you guys for letting us use.
Yeah.
They didn't even let us. We're just kind of using it because it's there.
yeah. Let's talk
Woo.
MLB playoff race.
Yep. All
Real
right. I'll sit
quick.
back for 5
Doesn't
minutes.
take
Play
long.
my 2K. You go ahead.
Um, this is fun. Not as fun as previous.
Here's my
years.
bold prediction:
This
the
is
Tampa
their
Bay
category.
Rays will not be making the postseason.
Oh, I sure hope
You're an
not.
idiot. They're going to make the postseason. Right now, they're a game and a half above the Oakland A's for the first wildcard spot, and they're 2 games
Half a
above the
game,
Indians.
yes.
They are 11-1 in their last 12 games, and they're a 6-game win streak right now. The Rays are, so looking good. They are going to have to come and face the Boston Red Sox, the Yankees, and LA. I think it's LA, then the Red Sox and the Yankees. So that's a tough stretch, but everything other than that is lower than 500 teams. Indians have injuries that they're not getting people back, but the Rays are getting people back, and so are the Athletics. The Rays are really, I think, they're taking advantage of having those full rosters right now, and they have a really good farm system. They have a lot of people they can call up, so they're taking advantage of those rosters. I think the Rays will take a playoff spot, but I actually think they'll fall below. The A's have a really easy schedule, so I think they'll take the first spot, and I think the Rays will take the second. And I won't predict that game until it actually happens.
Well, you don't want to play in O.CO, whatever the name of that stadium's called, the Coliseum. That will be rocking
It
with
will.
the
They'll
horrible
be able to
seating
fill
that
it
they have.
But they'll be able to fill it up for a playoff game. So,
So will Tampa.
so that's a fun race. The other fun race is the Yankees. I mean, other than the NL and
Give
the
me
AL, the other
28 for
fun
the
race.
Yankees this year. That's all I gotta say.
Yankees and Astros are tied right now for home field advantage. But they are tied 95 wins and 51 losses. So that's a fun race to see down the just
I
see
have
which team-
something to say with baseball. Speaking of Astros and Athletics, what is this series?
Okay, that series was weird. Lots of runs. So the game before the series, the Astros blew out the Seattle Mariners, and then they blew out the Astros again. They blew out the Athletics in the first game. So you're like, oh, it's just the Astros are really good. And then they turned around and
got that score put up
demolished
on
with
them.
the Athletics 21-7.
It was beautiful.
And
That's what we come to watch with baseball. I just want to see a slugfest. Just running
like
some
the fact
bases.
that after both those slugfests, somehow the difference in the 2 games of run differential is just 1. That, like, after they lose that, they can go into the next game and the differential is just 1. Insane.
Wait, how'd the third game go? Is that tonight?
That's tonight.
Oh, let's see how that goes. 1-1.
There's been an average in the last 3 games for Houston. The average run total for both teams combined is 21.6.
So bet the
Rounded
under
up to
tonight if you're a
22.
betting man.
Insane.
It's
then
going
we
to be 2-1, go to 14 innings.
Let's see what the over and under is. I'm going to find that while you guys talk.
Thing that's been happening in the NL as far as
Rest in peace,
changes.
Brewers.
The Atlanta Braves have gone on a crazy streak, and now they're within range of the Dodgers to have the best record in the NL for home field advantage. So that's interesting. They are 8-2 in their last 10, but they're even better than that past their last 10. They lost last night, and the Dodgers won because they're playing the Orioles, even though they're losing to the Orioles today. 1-0 in the third.
My condolences to Yelich, man. That sucks.
That's a heartbreaker. That's a bad one.
That's good guy too. From anything I've never met him.
Such a great guy, great player, great talent in the league.
The Milwaukee Brewers are a game back, but I didn't really believe they were going to be there. I don't think.
But having
their run differential is -27. Their expected wins is actually 69 instead of 76 based on run differential. So like, they're already overplaying what they have done. They won their last 5 games. They're 8-2 in the last 10. So like, they were on a hot streak. But I didn't. Even if they made the game, I didn't think they'd win the wild card game or do anything in the postseason. So not that matters a ton. The most interesting story was the Diamondbacks, who were sellers at the deadline, but were playing well, but they lost the last 3, so now they're 2.5 games out of the second.
Isn't there a run differential like something crazy like plus 70?
+79.
Wow.
Give me the Orioles to win the division. Did I say that right?
And they're getting better. They traded pieces and their prospects that they traded for at the deadline when they got rid of Greinke. They got people that are in AAA and AA, guys that are ready to come up next year. They're going to be good next year. I think it was smart on their front office. They were like kind of sold, but they sold for the immediate future. So they'll be good next year.
Go Yankees, 28.
The Cubs are holding on for dear
Yankees
life.
win the World Series. The Yankees are going to win the World Series this year. That's my honest belief.
I think the Athletics are the best team in baseball right now. Not the Athletics, sorry.
Astros.
I think the Astros are the best team in baseball right now. I think the New York and the Dodgers are very close. The Dodgers have the best chance to win the World Series just because they have the least amount of competition.
Yep.
They'll probably get to the World Series.
Yeah, I think they definitely will.
Have to go through the
Whoever
Astros.
comes out of the AL is winning.
Yep, I agree.
The Rays are gonna
unless
win
the
the
Rays-
World
yeah.
Series.
Unless it's the Rays. Then
Unless the Rays,
give me the Dodgers.
If we make it to the World Series,
I'm moving out.
we started hitting. So we're not a bad team.
something
okay?
crazy happened.
We have the best team ERA in baseball. So like we have the best pitching in baseball, and we're getting people back pitching. Charlie Glass now just came back. Snell's coming back. I think the Rays could do a lot towards the end of the stretch here.
When does the
And-
NBA start?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm getting sick of baseball. I love baseball.
What, hockey start in 3 weeks? Is that what?
Yes.
Yeah, we still got a while for hockey, but I think the Islanders definitely win the Stanley Cup, and that's how it goes.
I'm still.
I don't know anything about hockey, so give me the Minnesota Wild.
I don't know. I think they're in it for a big
I hate
rebuild.
to tell you. I don't think it's going. Okay, I
Put
have
it out there now.
something-
Minnesota Wild, Stanley Cup champs.
I mean, it could
have-
happen. The Blues won this year, so.
At some
The
point,
Blues,
I want
that
to
was
talk
a
about
miracle.
soccer. If you
You
guys
hit.
wanna
Go
give
ahead
me
now if you're done with baseball.
5 minutes to do this.
Go ahead.
I think I have a plan to save soccer in America, and I think I have a plan to save
Wait,
every
pause.
sport
Didn't
dying
the
in
women's
America.
national team like volunteer to like give their head to CTE?
Oh yeah. I have a story. I'm
brain.
going to talk about
So
that.
props to them.
I have it.
Big ups to the women's national team.
I'll get to that. This is involved.
I'm
This is
just
involved in the thing.
giving them their props and credit where credit's
We're
due.
only giving them props for that. We're not giving them props for anything else, like
Well,
the
I'm saying
championship.
today.
Okay,
That's what
come
their
on,
props
come
are
on.
for today.
I'm going to talk
Okay.
about this. Anyways, how you save soccer and how you save every single sport in America, because I think we're in a big problem right now where football is big and basketball is big, but
Cut
other
everybody's
sports
heads
are
off.
kind of dying off. And wait, do you want to say something?
No, I was just saying, just get rid of everybody's heads, and we don't have these injury concerns. People go back to playing sports how they did,
There is serious discussion about just like
making everything
Not
flag
people
football
make
and
headers.
non-contact. Yeah,
not letting people do headers in soccer. So
Mhm.
like head is like a handball as far as like if it's intentional.
yeah, and there was also
So,
consideration to make football flag football.
I mean,
That would kill the sport, but okay.
it would, but okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Here's how you save soccer though, and here's how you
Go
save
for it.
other things. So you gotta save soccer at some level. You have to draw some interest in soccer, and the way you do that is you find winners. And right now, women's team are winners, and
Really?
they can draw
Didn't
some
know that.
sort of interest. Now the problem is, as I've told you guys, but the NWSL, which is the National Women's Soccer League in the U.S., is a joke. And
Oh, that was
there's
so-
big problem. There's big problems. I'll go over two problems that they have. So there was a story this year at the beginning of the year, the draft for the NWSL. The worst team in the league was the Sky Blue FC, and they have Carly Lloyd actually, and they have that whole kicking
You
conversation.
mean the Jets
But
kicker?
because of the worst team and the trades they'd done, they had the second pick and the sixth pick. The first pick went to the new expansion team, so that's why they didn't have the first pick. But they had the second pick and the sixth pick. And both the people they picked decided to go play in Europe instead because they didn't want to play for this team, because apparently the owner didn't like give proper housing and stuff to like the players, and like everything was just like run terribly, and like the conditions were terrible everywhere they went, and none of the players want to play there.
I mean, yeah, I wouldn't
so
want to do that either.
the worst
personally.
team got even worse. They didn't even get any draft picks, and their entire like soccer team was just falling apart. And then there's the worst part of the NWSL, which was highlighted by like a trade 2 years ago. It was the Alex Morgan trade, and
Just for publicity, wasn't it?
so okay, So Alex Morgan's husband played for the Orlando
Orlando,
team,
yeah.
so she wanted to go there. But like the real reason that
So she can go to
Orlando
Disney every
made
week.
this trade, no, because Alex Morgan makes them money because when she's on their team, people go to games and they only care about money. And it was an absolutely awful trade. So they traded away picks. They traded away what was a number 1 pick and a person, and they traded away like just talent, and they traded away picks. They traded away literally everything just for Alex Morgan, and she doesn't even play most games because she either has like U.S. team duties or she's injured. She has injury prone, and she hasn't even been good in the games that she's played in the NWSL. So like it was just an absolutely terrible trade. It was made completely for economics, and it's really like a microcosm of the problem of the league is that like soccer in Europe survives because owners they buy it because there's prestige around buying a club. So when they buy the club, they're buying it because they want to, not because it's a financial gain for them to do it.
Well,
It's just
that too.
looked upon good. It's like, but only 2 teams in Europe, of the European teams, actually make money. All the other teams lose money. They don't make money. These owners aren't making money. So they're doing it because that's what they like to own a team.
Okay.
And in America, that doesn't work because soccer isn't as big. So they want to make money, and the way that soccer works, it doesn't exactly run that well. So this is how you fix this.
Okay, I was wondering when you get to that part.
The same
The
thing happened
evidence is
with
there.
the
Props to you. Research.
Women's Canadian League for hockey. They collapsed. That was disappointing. You had that, and but this is how you do it. So right now, the only way that you can watch NWSL game is they just added some that you can watch on ESPN News, but there's a few. But they're always on like some random station that's like channel 75,
Local.
and you can maybe see it if you're local. What they have to do is they have to start putting these games on free on some sort of platform like YouTube or something like that, and they can still run ads and make money that way. But they have to find a way to expose people to the sport, and they can move backwards in trying to get things on like ESPN and higher stations by gaining popularity for the sport at the beginning. But you have to somehow make this accessible to people. And if you're able to take something like YouTube, that like you're starting to see they have games of the week for MLB and stuff on YouTube. If you're able to make a monopoly on putting soccer games on YouTube and making that like the sports thing on YouTube, you can like gain excitement from that, and then you move from that. The problem is you're not going to get people to be excited about soccer if they can't see soccer. Like you have to find a way to expose it. So the way you do that is put games on YouTube. That's my thoughts on this.
So put it
I
on
think
YouTube.
it's very smart.
Yeah, I get it. Because here's the thing. Like, me and you started watching, like, once we moved up here, we started watching a lot more soccer.
Yeah.
And what games do we watch most? Premier League.
Mm-hmm.
On a U.S. local channels, we watch more Premier League soccer than we did American soccer.
Yeah. I mean, don't even get me started on how America, we're only good at women's soccer because we were the only ones that cared for a while, but other countries starting to care. European teams that are doing soccer, they're paying people money. People are leaving the U.S. to go play on European teams because they're paying them money.
The U.S. has become where people go to retire.
U.S. like the U19 teams, the U20 teams, the women's team, they're losing in tournaments now. They're not at the level that they were at before, and if so, they're going to be overtaken at a certain point. And unless you fix soccer as a whole, and I think you do that with the women's sport, you need to find a way to expose people to it. And the best way to do that is you gotta just put yourself out there and do it free. And you can do that with women's soccer. You can take that risk because no one's watching at the beginning anyways. No one's watching this
I agree.
NWSL. This is where you take the risk.
I found myself a while ago, and a lot of times I find myself doing this. If there's a new type of sport or new kind of league, I remember on YouTube, the Major Arena Soccer League, where it's a soccer league in North America, and they play in stadiums. There's Canadian,
like
Mexican,
hockey
and United States
stadiums,
teams. Usually smaller, not like NHL stadiums, but it's not like as big as like the Arena Football League. But
Yeah.
it's like miniature soccer in a stadium. And I was, seeing all these games. They're like, oh, watch live on YouTube. And I started finding myself getting into the major arena soccer league. They're not making any money, but if you get more people there's a lot of people that love sports, and there's a lot of people that love soccer in general. I mean, soccer is probably the most popular sport in the world. You've got so much just value by just putting it out there, getting the word, just the games out there so that people can see. And I think if they did something along the lines of putting it on YouTube or somewhere else that could, and also be advertised so that people know that it's there, I think a lot more, fans and loyal fans, season ticket owners, you're going to get a lot more of that. Oh, do we have a local team? Oh, we do. The Orlando Squash. And then you move, you become a squash fan, and all of a sudden you're going to these games. And that's how leagues. And it's not like one day the NFL it was this major entity. It takes time to grow, and I think that this league, the women's soccer league in United States is just suffering
men's
because,
soccer, to be honest.
Yeah,
I would agree. The MLS the same thing. I mean, but the MLS is doing the opposite.
The thing you worry about the MLS is they do have some sort of standing, so they're not going to be willing to risk as much.
Yeah.
But I know that as far as soccer and getting me to watch soccer, I am the kind of intended audience that they want. If I start watching a soccer game, I enjoy it.
And I will finish the game.
I don't go to watch a soccer game. Nothing draws me to watch. If you can get me there, if you can get me to watch a soccer game, I'm going to watch it. And if you can get me to enjoy a team, to back a team, then I will start following it a lot more. I think you see it in the Olympics as far as the way just things like handball, incredibly fun to watch, but my only time to watch it is the Olympics, and I enjoy it when I watch the Olympics, but there's nowhere I see it elsewhere. They're fun sports, but if you promote it right, you can gain a following. And I think the other thing that they could do that would be really cool is start putting some of these teams in cities that don't have teams that still have a high population, so you can try and rally around, this is this city's team, so you get the full support of the local people because that's all they have.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but don't the women's league have aren't they technically affiliates of the MLS teams? They're in the same exact cities?
No, they're a bit different. I think they're relation, but they're not the same.
I thought they were
in
the same exact
cities, but I don't think they're in direct relation. They're not pairs.
Oh, I know their logos, and the logos and the jerseys are very similar.
Because I know Orlando does that.
But I don't think they're affiliates. I don't think they're just this team has an affiliate of the MLS team. I don't think that's how it works. But I'm not 100% sure.
How sexist would that be?
Okay, affiliates was a bad word, but I meant aren't they in the same cities?
I think they have partnerships with them.
I could be wrong, but that's what I thought.
I would need to read up more on this.
Right.
But it
so
annoys
more
me
about Olympic handball?
that soccer's not popular. Okay, no, but wouldn't it be fun if we figured out a way to make sports have a greater following other than just basketball? If we could find a way to get people backing teams and not hard to find those teams play, to watch them, that you could get behind a team in different sports. It'd be so much more fun to have more sport. The more sports, the better. It's not super hard for someone to there's people that barely watch any games of certain teams, but they still consider themselves a fan.
Oh yeah, I'm a diehard Jets fan, and I maybe get to see 2 games a year.
Yeah, I mean, just get someone to the point where they are backing a team, and everything else will fall into place.
A very commendable soapbox, Jackson.
That's my...
I was very proud of that, actually.
It's very good.
So, we're at the hour mark.
Yeah, I'm running out of time, gentlemen.
So you want to just cut this off? And I'm gonna make a promise for the next one because I need to get this off my chest. It's been weighing me down for a week now. Robo refs, pass interference, that whole subject.
That's gonna take a while.
That's coming in the next episode.
This is gonna take a while.
Yeah, I've got a lot to
Pace
say.
a game, all that is coming in the next episode. We might dedicate one whole episode to it. Who knows? But it's coming.
Just tune in. Keep checking out.
3 minutes left here to talk about the CTE thing because I didn't actually get to that, and we
okay,
didn't
if you
talk
want
about that.
Just slap that at the end if you want.
That report, the players that were associated with it, they had Megan Rapinoe, Abby Wambach, and Michelle Akers. They all and Brandy Chastain. They all said that they would donate their brains.
Mm-hmm.
So those are top, or I mean, at least in the case of Abby Wambach, were top players for the U.S. women's national team that are donating their brains. And this is, I know the goalie for the U.S. that they had when they played
Hope
that
Solo?
game against China. No, when they played the game a long time ago, the World
Oh,
Cup game, like the first
before
one where
Hope.
that long game against China that they played. I think it was like the beginning of the 2000s or whatever. Where they won 1-0 and like with a golden goal, and that like person took off their shirt or whatever, like that celebration. Anyone know what I'm talking about?
I have no clue, but continue.
But the goalie that won that game, basically, who had to shut up for a long time, she was saying that she was like close to suicide and stuff, and that the only reason she didn't commit suicide, I think it was like for her mom or something. But like these people that you know and you see that like it's just like incredible to see like these stories come out that like they're battling with these things.
Okay, I wouldn't say incredible, but I know what you meant. I know what you meant.
That.
Because, like, you even see, like, Antonio Brown. Like, now I'm starting to, like...
It's surreal.
Like, if it was... Like, we don't know if what he was doing was just an act to get off the Raiders and get what he wanted. Or if it was because of something more
I'm
serious.
honestly worried about him.
I'm worried. I will say that. But I'm curious as to which one it is. Like, I'm not counting out... Like, I'm not trying to disrespect him or CTE or anything like that. But I'm just saying, like...
The Aaron Hernandez brain, you remember seeing that?
I haven't.
After the CT, that's scary. Like, that's incredibly scary to see. Like, when you can just, like, a human that has no understanding of what's happening can just look at a normal brain and look at their brain and see a big difference. That's terrifying. And the things that he ended up doing. It's definitely a scary part of sports and a conversation that needs to happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
So on that note,
that's been fun.
That's been the second episode of the Pace Sports Podcast.
Yes.
I want to say we're looking to get a little more frequently than once a week. We're gonna start trying to pump a few more out.
Friday. Do some college football too.
I think Wednesdays and Fridays.
Tuesday or Wednesday and Friday. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Maybe Monday if we have something incredibly pressing.
Well, because Monday, if there's something huge news, we might do like we always can have like emergency shorter podcasts.
Yeah.
But as of now, try and expect Tuesday or Wednesday and a Friday podcast.
Hopefully. Friday will probably
Alrighty, everybody.
All right. With that being said,
adios.
Thank you.
Pace.
Pace. And so long. See you next time.